This video is inspired by my friend Cherie's last video on her channel, The Top Note. She's participating in a tag video. I'm going to do the same. This is all a bit of fun, but it did make me think of a couple of things in regards to my collection. So I'm wearing my glasses because I have to read this, otherwise I'll forget stuff. So there are, I think, 13 questions, and in her original video, the first question was, what is your boss babe scent? I've just changed it to boss man scent. What that means to me, I have no clue. No, really, I guess I just interpreted that question as, what scent makes me feel assertive, confident, dare I say it, a little bit masculine. And I couldn't split these two perfumes. The first one is The Third Man, Le Troisième by Caron. And the other one is my scent of the day today, Bel Ami by Hermes. They just have this kind of very assertive, take no prisoner vibes about them. You kind of do need to have a level of confidence to wear those perfumes, I think, in my personal opinion. So that's why I chose those two. The second question is, what is your go-to bedtime scent? Now, these days, I don't often spray a perfume on to go to sleep or just before I go to sleep, unless I've just showered and I might be sampling stuff. I have in the past used a solid perfume that was basically just like a patchouli soliflor, which I really enjoyed. But in the past, I used to have a vintage miniature of Calvin Klein's Obsession for Men that I would often, it would just sit on my bedside table and I would often just dab that on my wrist before I went to bed. And I used to love the way it smelled, or just having that scent come up off my wrists while I was, dozing off was lovely. Third question, what is your hug in a bottle? So I literally take that to mean comfort. What makes me feel comforted, warm and cozy. And I could not think of anything other than Eau de Bois by L'Occitane. There is another perfume that I considered, but I've chosen that for a different category later on in this video. This next question's a little bit silly, but the way I copied it directly from Cherie's video, and the question is, what is your secret of mass seduction? And it didn't mention perfume, so I just went with my huge bottle of Eau Noire anyway. So that's what I've chosen because I just assumed they were talking about perfume. In all seriousness, though, I just randomly chose Eau Noire. I mean, I find it a particularly sexy perfume. Not everyone would. Some people find it strange. Some people can't cope with the lavender or the immortelle or the coffee or the licorice. It's all, the sum of its parts is what makes this a beautiful and, dare I say it, sexy perfume. The next question, what is a fragrance that I never wear but cannot part with? Well, the easy answer to that is I don't have any. Every perfume I keep, I have the full intention of wearing, and I do wear them. If I find that I'm not wearing a perfume, whether deliberately or it's just never at the forefront of my attention, that usually gets moved on pretty quickly. But I haven't sold or gotten rid of any perfumes pretty much for most of this year. Following question is, what is one of my favorite fragrances that I do not wear enough? Again, I tend to rotate through a lot of my perfumes quite regularly, so they get worn. There are a few that I really enjoy when I wear, but they are specifically kind of saved until appropriate season, weather, occasion, whatever that might be. But for whatever reason, I really enjoy this perfume, but I find that I have not worn it very often, and that is number 19, Eau de Toilette by Chanel. So it's not that I don't wear it because I don't want to or I don't feel like it, but I tend to save these for particular seasons and days or occasions. So I do really, really like it, and that's why I don't wear it that often. Next question is, what is a fragrance that I would recommend to a beginner that is still unique? And I guess I adapted this to my own sort of situation close to home. I have a 16-year-old son. He likes wearing fragrances, and in the past I have given him stuff that I no longer wore, and so he got my sort of cast-offs. And one thing that surprised me was what he did like compared to my perception of what teenage boys like to wear. I guess because he's exposed to a lot more of the smells that I wear, he may have a different perception as opposed to a teenage boy who might walk into a department store and see whatever's being promoted in the designer / department store realm and choose that kind of thing. I gave him a decant of Terre d'Hermes Parfum, and I think, and he really enjoyed it, and I think that would be a great recommendation for a beginner / younger person, I guess in this case male, who is starting to get into perfume, because it is still quite an accessible, versatile scent, but also doesn't really smell like every other sweet, woody amber that's available in mass amounts. So that would be my recommendation, Terre d'Hermes Parfum in particular. This next question, I struggled. It is, what is a fragrance that I have that everybody seems to hate? And I honestly could not think of one that where my taste in that fragrance was in the minority. I guess I can only go by what other people tell me that I interact with. I chose one that I really love, but I know is polarizing. So some people absolutely love it the same way I do, and others have shown their distaste for it, and it's Gucci Guilty Absolute. And I guess to put something on top of that is that it is apparently discontinued now, and I would assume that poor sales may have had something to do with it, so it didn't appear to take off in the market, although I think it is probably close to a modern day masterpiece from Gucci. Next question. Again, this may be controversial, but the question is, what is an overhyped fragrance that I currently own? Now, I actually don't think I own anything that's overhyped, but I know this one seems to have pretty universal popularity and love among fragrance aficionados. And this is Guerlain Homme de Parfums. And let me set the record straight. I enjoy this. This is the one perfume that I own that I kind of don't see why it's as popular as it is, even though I like it. So to me, I took that to mean that it's more hyped than what I actually think of it. So that was my choice for that particular question. Next one, which of my fragrance is currently on the chopping block? Now, I have done well this year in that I've pretty much enjoyed all of my wardrobe and without feeling that I wanted to get rid of any. I do have one for this question, and it's only because I feel like as much as I like it, I feel like it's covered off in other fragrances, or I just feel it's probably the closest one to being redundant in my wardrobe, and that is Geo F Trumper's Sandalwood Cologne. Now, I think this is a lovely perfume. I think it's a really good sandalwood. I just sometimes, like I've talked about this getting compared with stuff like Chanel Egoist, and they're different. But when I feel like a sandalwood in this kind of genre, I will always lean towards the Egoist instead of this. So that's the only advantage this has over the Chanel is this: you could probably wear this in warmer weather, but that's kind of not quite enough for me to not consider moving this one on. I'm not saying I will, but if I were to want to start reducing my bottles now, this would probably be the first one to be considered. This next question is, what is the last fragrance that I purchased? Now, this is the one that I actually was considering for the what is your hug in a bottle, and I ended up choosing Eau de Bois, but I could have easily also chosen Memoir d'une Eau by Gucci. And I'm glad that I got this bottle because I feel like this would have been one that I actually regretted not getting if stock ran out or prices started to climb astronomically. So I'm very happy that I have it. And this is just about the most beautiful flacon that I own. Second last question, what fragrance is at the top of my bottle wish list? I think I've made this quite clear in past videos that I will be acquiring a bottle of Gilded by Boujee Bougies. There is one other bottle that I'm almost 100% sure we'll be purchasing, but probably in the new year, and that is Chanel's Paris Edinburgh. And I have tested this one in stores over the past 12 months. So every time I walk past the Chanel counter, I spray this on, and my instincts tell me that I must own this perfume, particularly before summer is over. I will have a bottle of Edinburgh. Final question is, what is my number one fragrance for life? This is kind of easy and difficult to answer at the same time because there are no guarantees in life. And how do I interpret number one fragrance? Well, I could just go with one that has consistently been among my top favorites at any given time through my whole 7 years of doing this, and also is, according to Base Notes Scent of the Day tracker, my most worn perfume of all time, and that is none other than 1740 by Histoires de Parfums. And that is the end of the tag video. So I'm not going to tag anybody else. If you're watching this and you want to do it, and you have a YouTube channel, or you want to start uploading to YouTube, or put it on your TikTok or your Instagram, do it. Let me know. I'll watch it. I promise I'll watch it. And that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed that. All a little bit of fun. Not trying to be controversial about anything. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.